The Irrational Confidence Podcast. It's the Miami Hurricanes. They're a 2.5-point road favorite going into the Swamp, playing the Florida Gators. Time of record spread is 2.5. Fresh. Bubble Scream Billy comes back. What's he got going on for UF in this game?
Well, first off, Miami and Florida State should play each other every single year.
Right.
The years that it's gone by, even though 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Miami and Florida opened up in Orlando, it should be a home and home every single year for the state. It's a proud program. You got to keep that going. All right, that aside, two coaches that are on the hot seat and for different reasons. Billy Napier, you've been given every resource in Florida you possibly can want. We've seen all the videos. It's time to start putting some wins together. Yes, your schedule is difficult. It's extremely difficult, but you've got to start putting some wins together. Last year's loss to Arkansas was dreadful, and I think everybody else would agree with that. Your first game ever as a head coach, you beat Utah in the Swamp. So we've seen both ends of the spectrum. You've beaten Tennessee, but you lose to Kentucky. It's all back and forth. What team shows up here? Graham Mertz is back again for his 5th or 6th or 12th year, whatever it feels like. Montrell Johnson had knee surgery in early August. Maybe plays this week, maybe not. It's still up in the air. I haven't seen anything different. It's arthroscopic, so not too extensive, but you never know. No ETN on this team, obviously. Pearsall's gone. You have Eugene Wilson's lead receiver. If the Gators are going to win this football game, they're going to have to be physical. They're going to have to be physical and buck up, especially on defense. You've got to, I don't care if it's 3-0 to win. You've got to play the way you played versus Utah 2 years ago in the Swamp to open the season. You've got to come out there, hit people in the mouth. Mertz is not Anthony Richardson. I know he won that football game for them back, 2 years ago, but you've got to find ways to just be tough and grind it out. A win is a win, and nobody's going to have you apologize for it. But you've got to find a way to dig deep and prove it. Because if you lose this ball game, things could unravel pretty quickly. The back end of the schedule is loaded, but if you start losing this one, things start happening. There's, kinks in the armor. It can get out of control real quick. The rumor mill starts heating up. It becomes bad. On the other side, Mario Cristobal. You came to Miami. You're at Oregon, had all the resources. You come to Miami, all these high-heralded recruits. You go out and get Cam Ward. You go out and get Damien Martinez, a couple other transfers in the portal this past year. It's time to start winning. What you've done at Miami has been pretty pathetic the past couple of years you've been there. The last year's loss was the laughing stock when you lost to Georgia Tech and all you had to do was knee the game out. You lost that one. This is your sign. You've got to come back and return Miami football to where it was in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Because if you don't do this and you lose to Florida, everyone says maybe an average Florida team, above average maybe, your meter's going to start heating up. Yes, you can still win the ACC. It's not going to affect potentially getting the playoff from that perspective, but the perception of the program will take a major hit. When you bring all this talent, you spend all these resources, you already hear stories about boosters and their NIL deals, or they're going out of business because they've spent too much money getting players on your campus. It's now time to get those players to show up and win on Saturday. It is going to be about 10,000 million degrees. 3:30 kickoff in the Swamp should not be happening on the first weekend of the season. The TV is going to have some poor person get a heat stroke, unfortunately. But you've got to come out there, embrace the heat, embrace the humidity, and just take care of business. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to win the ball game. 0-1 and 1-0 are two different things at the very beginning of the season. Cam Ward, you won the lottery. Look what Florida State happened. They lost the lottery to Cam Ward dealings, and they got DJU, and they were terrible. You've got to take this asset you have in Cam Ward and let him loose. Unleash him. Let him throw. Let him be an athlete like he was at Washington State and do some work. Damien Martinez, a stud of a running back, dominate their Oregon State. You went and got him. Release him. Punish them. Come out in the second half and just run Damien Martinez down their throats in Florida quick because the humidity will eventually catch up with them. They're getting worn on all day long. You have the assets. You have the firepower. You have an offensive line that's loaded. You have a lot of talent on defense. Reuben Bain Jr., Mayaga, the linebacker. You've got to come after and get it done. If you don't get it done today on this opener in Florida with everyone watching, is anyone ever going to take Miami seriously ever again? That's the pressure here. Right. You can still win the ACC, but you have a chance of beating a rival in the state, announcing your return, and getting some big time profile expectations really under wraps. Run the football, play with your athletes, be Miami. Be Miami. If this team doesn't get it done versus Florida squad, I think you actually might be starting to feel the heat. And the only way you'd be able to survive is if you won the ACC, win 12-1 from here, including this loss, and got yourself a top 4 seed. But you've got to take care of business right now. Billy, You need a miracle. You got to rally your troops. I mean, I don't like the Gators. I'm a dog, as we all know, but you've got to rally this entire program here. If you lose this ball game, I actually feel sorry for you because it's just going to continue to keep hearing this noise and noise and noise and noise. The rat poison all out there. Get Graham Mertz doing his thing. Get the defense to play. You don't have to win big. Just 6-3, 10-7, whatever it has to be. Be ugly, be physical, and attack Miami. Be aggressive. You have the home crowd. You have the humidity. Attack Miami and try to get it done. In the end, I think Miami has just enough athletes to win this football game late. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be humid. It's going to be hot. I think Miami wins like a 24-17, 24-14 ball game late in the fourth quarter. Martinez run it down their throat. Florida will play spirited, but Miami has more athletes and more players in the end to win the football game.
I think Florida's going to jump out to a quick lead in this game, playing off some emotions, especially with the crowd, and then slowly lose their grip with this game as this game goes on here. The thing is, folks, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I am not a fan of Mr. Graham Mertz. I don't think he is a great quarterback. I think he shows that he's improved somewhat. I shouldn't say I used to call him the worst quarterback in the entire NCAA college football. He has gotten better. He's still, to me, not a good quarterback, though, as well. And the fact that you're going to have to pin your hopes and dreams on this guy, I'm a little nervous about that. Maybe I'll be wrong this weekend. And for Florida fans, I hope I am wrong for you guys as well here. But this Miami team has got to make a statement here in week one. And especially, fresh, we know what they got in Cam Ward. We know what they got, especially in Damien Martinez. I think Damien Martinez at Miami, if the offensive line can block for him, they're going to be very, very difficult there. The real thing is going to be the Miami. Are you able to get the Miami of old swagger? Is that defense going to be the Hurricane defense of old? Do they come in there and go, take a look at a lesser quarterback and be able to just completely shut you down for 3-4 quarters where you can barely move the football outside of moving it maybe inside the 20s here? I'm telling you, Bain and Magiawa, hopefully I'm saying that right there, but those two guys should be like licking their chops to get after this quarterback here. I know Florida has a half decent offensive line, but again, if you guys are going to be that level of stud defense, if you're going to be what these boosters have put into this program here, it starts with that defense for the Hurricanes there. They have the talent on offense. I don't think Florida is going to be able to shut them down long enough to get this game in there. I'm going to go Miami 27, Florida 17. I think Florida's going to jump out to maybe like a 14-3 type of lead, 14-7 type of lead. And then all of a sudden, the defense is going to wake up and they're going to shut down that Florida offense. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see Cam Ward and Damien Martinez just take over this football game. And all of a sudden, the Hurricane is going to ravage the swamp.
If Florida has a chance, they have to do exactly what Georgia Tech did to Florida State. Just run the ball, run the clock, 12, 15 play drives. And the problem is you got a touchdown at the end of those drives. You got to find a way to score and kill the clock. But that's you have to be out physical and you have to dominate and control the clock to win the football game.
Right. Yeah. You're going to need to control the time and possession by a country mile in this game. So
it's just, use the elements to your advantage.